well-behaved good girl was invariably in the wrong place at the wrong time. The time she shoplifted 2 caramel wafers from the school tuck shop because we forgot our dinner money. She charmed everyone as she pleaded innocence, while I was caught with a wrapper and got detention. The time she persuaded me to bunk off school and a teacher saw me keeping watch while Dee snogged her boyfriend round the back of Asda. I got marched to the headmaster while Dee snuck into home economics and won a prize for her Bakewell tart. Luckily, I don't bear grudges. I put it down to love, an aversion to confrontation, and exceptionally high tolerance levels. The door opened and my boyfriend Pete materialised, clutching a 6-pack of Budweiser. He took in the scene in front of him, the two of us prone, tucked into cocoons. "I've just had an insight into what it looks like when whales get confused and beach up on the sand," he observed. "I'd throw something at you, but my shoulders are too sore," Dee muttered, then turned to me. "Did I mention my sore shoulders?" "Several times," I answered. Pete was already heading out the door, and only the very perceptive would have noticed that his gaze barely met mine. "I'm heading over to see Luke," he declared, telling us what we already knew. It was a familiar pattern. Dee and I worked together in our shop in the centre of Glasgow from Monday to Saturday, but still, every Sunday, she came to the house I shared with Pete and we commandeered the TV, while Pete headed over to Dee and Luke's house to colonise the high-tech tech, optimum sport-watching, obscenely large flat screen there. It was the non-sexual, non-kinky version of partner swapping. Dee and Luke had been married for 5 years, but Pete and I had yet to follow them to the death-do-us-part stuff, despite the fact that our relationship had preceded theirs by a decade, the legacy of a lethal 4th-year Christmas disco at high school that had served up the perfect storm of contraband wine and mistletoe. Making it official had never been high on our priority list. I'd always thought we were fine just the way we were. And mostly that was the case. Mostly. He backed out of the doorway. "See you later. I'll bring dinner home with me, so don't worry about making anything." There was a loaded dig in there. My cooking skills extended to salad and anything that could be put in the oven at 220 degrees for 20 minutes. And that was on a good non-hangover day. Dee, on the other hand, could look in my fridge, find several food items of questionable origin and age, and whip them up into an appetising meal. It was like some kind of Marvel superpower. The door banged behind him, and there was a pause until my very perceptive friend cracked. "Things not any better then?" It was more of an observation than a question. I shrugged. They weren't. I took a sip of my tea to deflect the question, but her raised eyebrow of curiosity made it clear Dee wasn't for moving on. I capitulated. I'd have made a rubbish spy. "He's just distant, preoccupied. I'm sure it's just a phase, a dip. You know, he can be pretty distracted sometimes." That much was true. Pete was just like Dee. Needed the constant amusement and focus of something going on, whereas Luke and I were perfectly happy to snap open a beverage, chill out, and leave them to it. We'd lounged on beach chairs in Bali and watched them surf. We'd sat in a rooftop bar in Vegas and watched them shoot off the roof above us on a roller coaster. We'd stood on the sidelines cheering them on when they crossed the line at a marathon. I saw firsthand why that old cliché of opposites attracting could work out particularly well. If Pete were like me, we'd live life at non-adventurous turtle speed. If I were like him, we'd probably be up a mountain right now, risking life and limb, getting friction rashes from Lycra. I much prefer